Hello everybody, I hope that you are well and having a wonderful day. I'm really excited for this podcast episode because I'm speaking about something really close to my heart, and that is why meditation is the gateway to miracles. I know that's a very loaded title and subject, but I stand by it 100%. Meditation has caused miracles in my life, and probably some that I'm not even aware of, but the few that I am aware of, I would shout it. I want to shout it from the rooftops. So here I am recording this for you. Hi and welcome for those of you that are new to the Mandala Effect podcast. You may be wondering what the Mandala Effect is, and the short version is you are the center of your universe, and the mandala represents a universe, and so it represents your universe. Every mandala is interconnected because we are all energetic beings and we are all one. And so every time you improve your life, you automatically improve somebody else's life. Every time you work on yourself, we all automatically elevate the consciousness of the planet. And that is an incredible thing to do, whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously. And you can't pour from an empty cup. So if we help work on our own lives, our own selves first, we can help the people. And again, whether we do that consciously or unconsciously, whether we're aware or not, every time we work on ourselves, we help somebody else. Help one, help them all. And so that is the idea behind the Mandala Effect. And today I'm going to be speaking about meditation, which not only will help you, but will help everybody around you as well when you begin a regular meditation practice. Or you may already have one, you may already see the benefits, and that's amazing. I would love to know what your benefits are to meditation. But I will run through the benefits of meditation, some of the more spoken about ones and some of the less spoken about ones. But also I want to show you how meditation is the gateway to miracles, how meditation can really help you create a magical life, because it can. And you know, you do this alongside lots of like other routines, other practices, and you will have a really, really wonderful and magical life. And then you'll end up where I am, with a really wonderful magical life, trying to tell other people about how they can build a really wonderful and magical life. And so the Mandala Effect goes on. So meditation can literally change your life. It changed mine. It changed mine more significantly last year, but the journey started nearly 10 years ago when I could not sleep one night. I was living in Australia with my boyfriend at the time. It was probably towards the end of our relationship. I couldn't sleep. I was angry. I was barely an adult. I didn't know what my emotions were. I think I was probably severely depressed. I had no idea. I certainly had some locked up anger, and I couldn't sleep, and I was like bucking, and I was angry, and I couldn't sleep, and I didn't know what to do. So I had a bit of an eat, pray, love moment, and went and lay by the side of the bed. I just couldn't. I thought, oh, this is going to be the best place for me. I like down the side of the bed, between the wall and the bed, and I must have been Googling like how to fall asleep. I can't fall asleep. What do I do? And like a guided meditation thing came up, maybe the Calm app or whatever. And I actually think this is probably when I started doing yoga as well. And I did it all to help me sleep and to help my kind of emotions and anger and whatever I was feeling, the sadness, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was going through. But I did this one meditation and my life changed forever. No, it didn't. I did one meditation, then probably didn't touch it again for 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure, I can't really remember. But when I moved back to the UK, I did start my company, and I I started running a shop, a jewellery shop, Rosanna Croft Jewellery, and creating my own jewellery and running my own business and wanting to do magical and wonderful things. And I did do so many magical and wonderful things. And I started learning more about meditation because I wanted to become successful. And I started learning about limiting beliefs and blocks, and read The Secret, and all of it only just scratches the surface of what is really possible and what is like the true power behind it. But I started putting, I think it was, it was probably when I went to Tony Robbins' UPW, and we did his priming meditation, and there were some guided meditations involved with that, and that's probably what brought it into my daily routine. And so I started doing 15-minute guided meditations in the morning to prime myself for the best day yet. But I was doing it for the wrong reasons. That's, what I'm learning now, 5 years on, is that I was doing it from a place of lack, and that's never going to create abundance, let me tell you. But anyway, that aside, I had fallen into a routine of meditating, and I was learning more about personal development, spiritual development, and all the things that come with it. It wasn't until last year when I really, really saw the effects of meditation, and meditation with an intention that comes from a place of your own power. And so at the beginning of last year, again, end of a relationship, there's really a pattern here. End of a relationship, had really started meditating, journaling, really going deep within myself. Chaos started to hit in my life, which is what happens when we start to make change and when we start to awaken. Chaos can hit. Warning. So I had this, I'd started doing 30 minutes of silent meditation, which is more than I had ever done of silence before. I really struggled, as many do, with silence. This is why people say I can't meditate, because they believe they have to be silent, and that's not the case. But as with everything, practice makes perfect, and you can sit silently for more than 1 minute. Anyway, I'd started doing 30-minute meditation, silent meditations, followed by like a 20-minute or a 10-minute guided meditation, because that really helps to elevate emotion. I can just hear Russell at the door. Sorry. Sidetracked. So that a guided meditation can really help take you somewhere else. It can help you visualize a brighter future. It can help you with so many wonderful things. And when I started getting into this practice, split up with the boyfriend, moved out into, manifested my dream apartment. 6 days later, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. So I actually really do see that me going into myself was a catalyst in a lot of this happening. It was definitely the catalyst of me splitting up with my boyfriend. It was definitely what pushed me to really go for my dream apartment rather than settling for what I could have had. I must have seen 13. I've got a podcast episode on it somewhere. I must have seen 13 flats before I just knew, but without even seeing it, that this was the one. I didn't even know what it looked like inside. Anyway, sidetracked again. So I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and it was like, yes, there was shock, yes, there was fear, but ultimately there was I know how I'm going to get through this, and I know that this is a test, and I know that I'm going to be okay. I know that this is just a trial in my life. So I'd actually, just before this happened, I'd actually picked up one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's books called Becoming Supernatural, and just by chance, I think, and I started reading it, and it was speaking about how people were healing themselves, and maybe was I listening to You Are the Placebo as well? And anyway, I started reading about how people were changing their lives and becoming supernatural through meditation, through bringing their focus to the infinite space around us and elevating emotions and really matching the frequency of what they wanted to call in, and the science behind the science behind the woo, as one of my friends has spoken about on her podcast recently, and that for me really was starting to open my eyes. Again, I was trying to bring about the next level of success in my life, in my company, and then I was diagnosed with cancer. So I was like, I know how I'm going to fix this. I know how I'm going to get through it. And so I created myself a really strong routine of how I was going to get through cancer. And, though I did question whether I was going to go through with chemo or not. And I did go through with chemo, but I supported it in lots of different alternative and holistic ways. And the main one that I know played a huge part in my healing was meditation. I developed a meditation routine that was so solid that I couldn't not survive, if that makes sense. Whether I would survive or not never even crossed my mind, actually. But I developed a meditation routine that would help me beat cancer, and I did, in a miraculous way. I was given a 50% chance of shrinking the tumour at the beginning of my treatment, and I'd shrunk the tumour, nearly all gone, about 3 sessions in, 3 chemo lots in, and there are lots of different cycles, there are lots of different types of chemo, lots of different lengths and cycles, and there's lots of different I won't get into the chemo side of things, but anyway, my meditation routine helped me shrink that tumour without a shadow of a doubt. Every morning and every evening I was in a place of health and vitality, even on the days I felt like absolute shit. What I knew I was going to do every day was meditate for a better life, and meditate to bring in the possibilities of a complete response. And it happened, and it worked, and I healed cancer, and I stopped chemo 6 weeks early. Meditation also helps you get in touch with your intuition. My intuition confirmed that I didn't need any more chemotherapy, so I stopped chemotherapy, and I healed cancer without all the chemotherapy that they were telling me to have and wanted me to have. And when I had the surgery, we wouldn't know if I had had a complete pathological response until I'd had my double mastectomy, and I got a call a few days before Christmas to tell me that we'd had a complete response. And and I know that it was not just chemotherapy that did that. In fact, I think it was probably 90% me, my mindset, my absolute knowing that I was going to come out of this, and the meditation that supported me in that knowing, in that connection to my intuition, and hence why the miracles happened. And I believe that this is accessible to anybody who wants to create any type of change in their life, be that a health thing or a stress thing or a relationship thing or a existential crisis thing, which we're all going through and we're all having and we will all have. And there are so many benefits to meditation, and it doesn't just have to like be the big ones like healing cancer, or helping people get out of financial difficulty, or I don't know, manifesting your dream yacht or whatever. Like it is, there are so many benefits, and I believe it can have like a really holistic way of improving your life. So there are lots of different types of meditation. There is the silent meditation, known as Vipassana. There is lots of guided meditations, visualizations that can take you to wonderful, wonderful places, really elevate your frequency, your emotions, and there are lots of different types of guided meditations. I design my own guided meditations. I do other people's guided meditations. Some of them involve cacao. Some of them involve Kundalini energy, which are some of my favorite. I love the Kundalini kind of stuff, for lack of a better word, and I'm hoping to do some training in Kundalini next year. And then you've got like your awareness, your mindfulness meditations, where that help you bring about calm, abiding mind, less stress. And this is what we're seeing more in the Western world these days, is mindfulness, because we know that mindfulness helps people with stress, helps bring stress down, lower things like your blood pressure, helps with anxiety and depression, lots and lots of benefits. But the benefits don't just stop at less stress. They don't stop at like better focus. You know, people who meditate are known to have more focus. It's so funny because I meditate and my focus today is off, and I know exactly why. Because I've had too much sugar, because I made some cereal bars and I can't stop eating them. They didn't even work as bars, but I've had too much sugar, and the point of me making these was so that I didn't have sugar. But anyway, again, sidetracked. But meditation can have so many more positive effects on your life than the stuff that we see in mindfulness. I'm not knocking it. It's absolutely incredible. I believe that children should be taught mindfulness from a young age. It's as important as learning your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s. But meditation can also bring in more joy and happiness into your life, and in different ways. It automatically does it, but when you get into a place of beyond the mind, stuff just happens that we're not even aware of. It's so not in our conscious awareness what happens, but like this is the gateway to the miracles. Increased productivity, inner peace, an open heart. Our heart chakra, the center of our being, the center of your mandala. When your heart is open, you're in a different frequency, you're in a different vibration. This is when miracles are attracted to you. This is when magic happens. This is when you meet the most incredible people. This is when money just falls into your life. This is when you get incredible opportunities, all when you have an open heart. You can go to sleep smiling. You can wake up smiling. It is wonderful. And synchronicities will show up in your life. Synchronicities, otherwise known as miracles, but synchronicities will show up in your life. Coincidences, there's no such thing as a coincidence. Then we kind of go into the more spiritual realm of the connection with the divine and your higher self. So the divine, otherwise known as pure consciousness, sometimes known as God, sometimes known as the universe, source energy, whatever you want to call it. Pure consciousness, we are all pure consciousness. This whole thing that we're in, this reality that we see, this physical world that we see, is just one field of consciousness. We are an energetic, we are all energy, we are all connected, but we're all manifested in different ways in this physical realm. and it's incredible. But when we can get beyond the mind, get beyond the body, and come into this state of pure awareness, we connect with pure consciousness. We connect with the divine, otherwise known as our higher self. Our higher self is that is your intuition. And people say, who is your higher self? Well, you already are your higher self. You don't need to become your higher self. You already are her. What you need to do is peel away the layers of the ego and the layers of your identity to really embody who you are as your higher self. But meditation can bring about that connection. I believe that my meditation not only helped physically heal, I'll get onto that in a minute, physically heal my cancer, but it also helped me get more in tune with my intuition. And that was ultimately what helped me make a lot of decisions throughout my, there's not one thing that I would have done differently in my cancer treatment. You get a deeper gratitude and zest for life, and again, that's through this connection with the divine, because you realize that it is not all your ego. You realize that it's not all what we see, that there is so much beyond what we see. And I think that having this deeper understanding that we don't know very much can really, really help bring about excitement and having gratitude for what you have. So it can also reprogram the subconscious mind. So you've got more spiritual meditations, you've got more scientific meditations. The science now backs up the spiritual, and it's really fascinating to keep on seeing this progress. And I'll just touch on epigenetics in a minute, but I am not a scientist, just so everybody is clear. I am not a scientist, but I find it fascinating. If you tell my chemistry teacher that, she would have a heart attack probably. But it can when you're in meditation, you're in different like the alpha theta brainwaves. You are going to reprogram your subconscious mind. This is when we're in our subconscious, we can change those limiting beliefs. If we set an intention before a silent meditation, say, if we set an intention and then let it go, that intention will go into the subconscious and it will just seep in. It'll just be there. You don't have to do anything. You just have to sit there in silence, concentrating on your breath, concentrating on your energy. You don't have to do anything, but that intention will go out into the universe, into the energetic field, and it will come into your life in a way that you won't know how it's going to. And that's really amazing. But not only can we reprogram our subconscious mind, we can also change our genetic expression. So this is epigenetics. And last year I learned a lot about epigenetics because I wanted to know, and again I found it by accident, a synchronicity. I found that our thoughts can change our genes, basically. So our lifestyle, how we live our lives, how much stress we have in our lives, how much happiness we have in our lives, how much what we eat, the frequency around what we eat, how much fear we have, how much trust we have. Every element of our lifestyle affects our genes. And so I have the BRCA1 mutation, and as does Angelina Jolie. She had a preventative mastectomy, and I had a preventative mastectomy actually as well, because that's what they call it. But anyway, so the BRCA1 mutation is a genetic mutation, but that genetic mutation doesn't have to mean you get cancer. I was extremely stressed. I was very anxious. I had a lot of inflammation in my body, which then ultimately resulted, I was unhappy, I was miserable, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do in the way that I wanted to do it. I wasn't living my soul's truest calling, and so all of this, I believe, it like amplified the inflammation in my body, and it ultimately manifested physically in cancer. And this is what happens. This is how diseases come about and manifest physically in our body. It's how it happens. And so if we can lessen our stress through meditation, bring in like synchronicities, bring in more joy, bring in more gratitude, bring in all of these positive benefits that meditation can bring you, it will change your lifestyle. It will change everything in your outer world, and for the better. And then it will help affect the genetic expression of your genes, the expression of your genes, and it means that you may not get the cancer, you may not get you may not get the diabetes or the chronic illness, whatever. Again, not a scientist, but epigenetics, meditation heavily supports your physical health, and reducing things like tumours and all of this. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton have so much research on this. Also Deepak Chopra, and I think it's the Chopra Foundation, they are looking into the same things as well. It is mind-blowing, and it's all really new, but everybody's finding the same things who is in this research, but it's all relatively new in the world of science. So when I mentioned it to my doctors last year, they didn't really know what it meant. So it's all it's just fascinating. It's fascinating for somebody who hated science at school. It's absolutely fascinating, and I love it now because, you know, it helped save my life. Well, there we go. Meditation literally saved my life. Maybe that's a better title. But so where is the gateway? Where is the gateway to miracles, and how do we get there? So the gateway is the space between your thoughts. It's the space between your breath. This is where pure potentiality is. This is where you bring in, this is where the infinite possibilities lie. It's known as the quantum field in science. So this, like the space beyond the mind, the space where you're in pure awareness, that is where the gateway to miracles lies. And when you can get there, when you can stay there for a period of time, when you can be in stillness and just still mind, still body, focusing on this space, focusing on your breath, whatever, anything can happen. When we reach this field of infinite possibility, anything can happen. And, you know, this is where miracles come in. And so you don't have to think about this every time you do a meditation. You don't have to take a meditation practice so seriously. But I think that the evidence really backs up the power of having a meditation practice. And when you can spend time in the unknown, in this space, less attached to your identity, to your ego, you start attracting magical stuff into your life. And our ego is trained to be fearful of the unknown, scared of the unknown, and keep us in our comfort zones. But stepping out of our comfort zones, trying some meditation, trying some silence, trying to get out in nature without your phone. It's one I quite struggle with because I like to take photos, but be in stillness and connect to the all that isness around you. That is ultimately where you're going to call in the miracles and start living a really, truly, wonderfully magical life. I think it's really important for you to have a meditation routine. So, and I would try and include silent meditation in this as well, because the silence is where you attach to pure creativity and pure consciousness. But also we can bring in guided meditation to help us get somewhere else, help us maybe help us center in the silence, or help us bring in. So I do a light meditation, which I really, really love. Visualize myself, my body, me as a being of light, and that just really helps me align and helps me get centered and connect with the divine, and I love that. And I also do guided meditations from Joe Dispenza. I design guided meditations because I believe that when they can help center you, and then you can elevate your frequency to really be the energetic match for what you want to bring in. So in my meditations, I take you to a space of stillness. I take you to a space of pure awareness where you're connected with the energy, you're connected with your heart, and then we bring in the feelings of what we want to feel. So I have one on YouTube at the moment called Opening to Possibilities. I'm just about to record another one called Opening to Prosperity. And we can, when we can attach to the, get in the same energetic frequency of what we want to call in, this is when it will show up in your life. You'll have no idea how it's going to show up, but it will show up in your life in a really magical way. And you'll start seeing incredible change. And it's magical. And this is why meditation is the gateway to miracles. I really believe it can change everybody's life. I believe everybody should have a meditation routine. I think that it should involve silence, and a mixture of silence and gratitude. I probably meditate for, on average, about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. Some in the morning, some in the evening. And just to keep myself connected to myself and not run away with the ego and the mind. Sometimes I even meditate throughout the day as well, depending on my state, because as we know, emotions, they ebb and they flow, and we are human after all. So I'm going to leave this there. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions about meditation whatsoever, please contact me, because if I can't answer your question, I will be able to point you in the direction of somebody who can. If you would like to learn more about my meditations, I host online meditations now every Thursday. Russell's going to knock my camera over. I host online meditations every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. UK time. And they're just held on Zoom, and there's an Eventbrite link which I will put in the description below. I also, if you're in Kent or local to Kent, I host in-person meditations in Folkestone at Grace Hill Studios every Saturday at 11 a.m. I also host in-person workshops there. In December, I'm hosting Healing the Mind, Body and Soul. And if you want to learn more about my one-to-one coaching, then you can just check out the links. I have a brochure that you can download. All the links are in the descriptions. Any questions about meditations? Oh, and my free meditations are on YouTube, so you can go and have a look at those. Again, links in the descriptions. Have a really, really magical day. I hope this has been helpful. Please like, comment, share. Do your thing to spread the love. You never know who this might help if we can get the word out there. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye.